becoming angry with him instead of remaining calm. I defended brother, motivated by good intentions, no desire to harm, called in by wife. I emphasized need for firm action and insistence that patient see me. Freud and his theories, the patient riposted, were manifestations of the same materialism that he himself completely rejected in his own work in logic and philosophy. The mind was based on far fewer physical foundations and far more spiritual influences than the 20th century wanted to believe. The medieval thinkers had been right to look upon mental illness as a spiritual infestation. Eventually, the truth will be discovered, even though science is headed in a materialistic direction for the foreseeable future. Once, he told the psychiatrist that he did not consider his consultations as therapy, but just as talking to a friend. All of his own friends were gone. During their years together in Princeton in the 1940s and early 1950s, he had been by far Einstein's closest companion. Einstein said his own work by then did not amount to much, but he came into the office just to have the privilege of being permitted to walk home with Kurt Gödel. They were an established Princeton site, the almost comically mismatched pair making their way home each afternoon across the sweeping lawn of the Institute grounds, opposites in almost every personal trait. Einstein with his trademark unruly hair, baggy sweater and suspenders, looking like a good old grandpapa, which there is no reason to object to. Gödel had once said to his mother, defending his friend when she had made a wondering remark about Einstein's unkempt and unaesthetic appearance in a photo Gödel had sent, and Gödel, solemn, serious, rail-thin, immaculately dressed on the hottest summer's day in white linen suit and snappy fedora. Yet each day they walked and conversed animatedly in German on politics, physics, philosophy, life. But Einstein had been dead for 15 years. And then, the patient insisted, his one other old and close Princeton colleague, the genial and brilliant economist Oskar Morgenstern, whom he had known ever since the old days in Vienna, had dropped him, abandoned him for no reason. "I lost my best friend," he piteously said. Now the Institute for Advanced Study, the academic elysium that had looked after him with paternalistic solicitude for 3 decades, was abandoning him too. He was certainly about to be fired, or perhaps had already been fired, the decision having been made in secret and kept from him. To all of the doctor's attempts to reason with him, the patient replied with the iron grip of logic. Still as convinced of reality of his ideas, and to challenge them would be admission of insanity which would put into question the validity of his life's work. Either I accepted him as objective and capable of reporting accurately, and this led logically to the conclusion, or else spirits could be involved in terms of deceiving him. But surely, the psychiatrist objected, it would be false for the Institute's director to have just written you a letter affirming your status as a tenured professor with a guaranteed pension when you retire, a permanent statement of the Institute's position, the director had emphasized, if he was going to fire you. Or look at Einstein, he urged. Like you, he did his great work as a young man, and he didn't become depressed. Or once, in a counsel of complete despair, try having a glass of sherry before meals. He tried challenging his patient. You need a villain. Sometimes the doctors fill that role, sometimes your brother. You suffer from a secret desire for incarceration from guilt over your perceived failings. You suffer from grossly inflated ego due to your early triumph and the honor showered on you as a young man. The patient ridiculed all of these suggestions. He had never sought fame, he said. He had put that all behind him years ago. His only motivation throughout his life had been a desire for financial security and an interest in the work itself. But now he could not seem to do anything. Listed the various distractions that had interfered with his progress with his philosophical work: marriage, bookkeeping, his health problems, mental and physical, wife's health, institute duties, occasionally working on problems in pure mathematical logic, hobbies, reading history, etc. In his own case, he feels that he becomes so involved with preliminaries he never gets to the main body. Even his great work, the incompleteness theorem, was no longer a consolation. All of his contributions, he sadly observed, were of a negative kind, proving that something